Hello and welcome back to another live stream on the channel. This isn't going to be the longest live stream in the world. I have some very important things I need to get on top of, but we are going to discuss here my top altcoins. We're going to touch on the FOMC Fed decision and press conference today and how that could potentially impact the markets. We are obviously heading up today, which is great news if you're holding altcoins right now. And that's off the back of a very bullish month, okay, and a mixed week. This week's been, a bit bearish, bit green. It's not really been anything special, but I am noticing people are starting to come back into the crypto market on a higher rate now, okay? I'm noticing more people joining the VIP group. I'm noticing more people interested in altcoins, and it's very obvious why that's the case. Is because Bitcoin just went on a move up to 97K. And it looks like it's getting close to 100K now. So you've got to put yourself in the mind of retail and how they think. When they see Bitcoin getting close to 100K, they're getting excited. They don't get excited when Bitcoin's down in the 70s, right? Or the 80s. They couldn't care less at those points. They care when Bitcoin, like I said, is getting close to 100K, when it's pumping. That is when they start paying attention. So I am of the belief that we are in the midst of the next leg up for Bitcoin, the final leg, in fact, of this bull run. And that could play out any point in the next few months. Okay, we could go to a new all-time high and form a top in June, in July, in August, in September, right? It could be any point in the next few months. I've got levels that I'm looking at, but I think we are in the midst of the next leg up. And I believe that we are going to start to see some really, really good gains on altcoins. So if you're interested in my favorite altcoins, you can see them on the screen right now. Okay. They are my top altcoin picks. And if you're wondering what the 2 VIP gems are, they are recent buy alerts in the VIP. You have to be in the Discord to see them. In the Discord, there is a section called buy and sell alerts. You get all my buys and sells at that point in real time, right? So another reminder as well, we have that FOMC conference later. I will be hosting a group call in the VIP while that conference is ongoing. We'll discuss the ramifications of it. We'll discuss what Jerome Powell actually said. Obviously, in terms of the decision, we're not getting a rate cut, okay? It's not happening in May, and it's most likely not happening in June. But what we really want to hear is there any indication of them cutting any time soon? Now, if you remember in the last FOMC, Jerome Powell came out and he was basically saying they're in no rush to cut anytime soon. They're happy to wait. And it was very much, in my interpretation, an FOMC of we'll wait and see. Now, other people interpreted it very differently. Other people saw it as really bullish. But to me, it was a policy of we'll wait and see. Let's see if that's changed given the new information we have about tariffs, given, some hard data that's come out. Let's see whether his approach is the same. And I believe we'll see big changes in these percentages after we get some clarity in this meeting. Okay, so that's what you really want to be watching during this FOMC is not obviously the decision. We already know the decision. What you want to be looking at is the odds of rate cuts coming in June and July. Okay, will that be the case, or will we be waiting even longer for a rate cut? And really, in my view, the longer they wait, the bigger the implosion. That's my view. Like, you can't keep interest rates this high as long as they have without a massive crash coming at the end, right? Because you've basically put the whole economy on hold and you're fast tracking the economy to a recession doing this type of policy, not to mention the effects of tariffs on top of that. So this could really change the whole course of this cycle, guys, what Jerome Powell says today. So although it's not important in terms of the actual decision of the cut, we already know that, it's important what he says. Okay, so I'm going to be in the VIP on a voice chat, live streaming that, and we'll discuss everything that is discussed, and we'll do some TA and look at some charts on the call. Okay, I'm going to get into the comments. We're going to go through as many questions as we can in this stream. It's going to be predominantly a question and answer style live stream, so get your questions in, guys. Make them good. Okay. Crypto Terrence says, Archie, do you think Bitcoin dominance has topped here? Also, thanks for all you do. I'm a proud VIP member. Well, thank you very much for being a VIP member. I really do appreciate that. And shout out to all the other VIPs. People are certainly in a rush to join right now. The demand is increasing, and you know what that means for the price. Okay, high demand will lead to an eventual price hike. So if anyone else is interested in the group, this is definitely the time to get in. But in terms of your question, BTC.D, I was actually taking a look at this before the live stream. It keeps on forming new all-time highs. The RSI on the 2-week is ridiculously high. The RSI on the 1-week is ridiculously high. And it has been for a while, guys. I mean, it's been really high for a long time. And this is kind of the issue with RSIs, is they can remain overbought for years. So that's not necessarily a topping signal just because the RSI has gone high. What we really want to look at is the key levels. And if you take a look at this chart, I mean, Bitcoin dominance has just been in an uptrend for a very long time. Some people are calling for it to stop at 66%. Some people are calling for it to top at 70%. But it's in a very clear uptrend here. Now, my belief, like I said in the last live stream, is we will eventually get a retracement in Bitcoin dominance. Things can't go up forever. Even the strongest assets in the world can't go up forever. And eventually, you'll see a bit of a fall off with Bitcoin dominance. Now, that would be most likely as a result of a change in monetary policy from the Fed. Okay. That would be the most likely thing to constitute a risk on appetite in crypto. Because you gotta kind of think about it. In crypto terms, Bitcoin is risk off. In crypto terms. Obviously, when you look at the macro, Bitcoin is still seen as a risk asset. But in crypto terms, Bitcoin is seen as the safe haven. Altcoins are seen as risk on. In order to have an altcoin rally, you need a risk on macro environment. That's what you need. Now, what would lead to a risk on macro environment, I would say liquidity injections, which we are seeing go up. I would say stimulus. And I would say a consumer that actually has money. I don't know if the consumer really has much money. I don't know if retail really have much money. So I don't think we get the conventional crypto alt season where Bitcoin dominance has a drawdown of, 50%, 40%. I don't think we get that. I'm sorry to say that. I might be wrong, but that is not my current belief set. Even if Bitcoin dominance, let's say, goes up to 66% and then forms a top, a 50% drop, that would just be ridiculous. A 40 to 50% drop, we just don't have time for that. We don't have time for that this cycle. The 4-year cycle expires in 6 months' time. Okay, Bitcoin tops out in Q4 usually. Now, I've been arguing we might not even top out in Q4. We might top out to the left of that because of the uniqueness of this cycle. But even if you go for the optimistic scenario, which is Bitcoin topping out in October based on the 4-year cycle trend, that gives us like 6 months. You think Bitcoin dominance can drop that much in 6 months? Because I personally don't. I think we get a nice drop at some point, but not a ridiculous drop like we've seen in past cycles where every single altcoin 100x's. I don't think we get that. I do think we get some form of an alt season, but it will be very different to last time. That's my view. And it has been different thus far already. So maybe Bitcoin dominance goes up to 66 and then like down to 50, right? Maybe that's what happens. And that's just the new normal, that Bitcoin is here to stay. It's going to be a very huge percentage of the crypto supply, or market share rather. And that's just going to be the case forever. So I think we are going to get a drop on this eventually. But it's not going to be as crazy as what some people think. That is my current stance. Maybe it's the 50%, maybe 55%, and that will be what gives us a really good pump on the altcoins. And you've got to realize we had a really good pump on the altcoins in the back end of last year into the beginning of this year. We did. I don't know if you did. I'm sure most of you guys did, even if you weren't paying attention to the channel, because most of crypto went up. Solana went on a really big run. Meme coins went on a really big run. Sui, I mean, we got into Sui way below $1. That thing shot up all the way to over $5. We made like a 7x on Sui. So even despite this macro uptrend on Bitcoin dominance, there was plenty of money to be made in November when Bitcoin dominance merely dropped 10%. 10, 11%. A mere 10% drop, you made probably 5, 10x's on your portfolio in that period, right? Now, whether you sold at those x's or not is a different question. But I'm sure many of you guys watching during this period, if you're buying altcoins, just a 10% drop in Bitcoin dominance, you made a 3x, a 5x, a 7x, a 10x, 12x, maybe even some 15x's in that tiny period of a 10% drop. So my argumentation is that it's never happening again where we get this ridiculous 50% dump. Okay, those days are probably in the past. But what we can get is a 20% dump, a 30% dump. Even a 15% dump would be amazing for altcoins. It would pump loads of these altcoins that I'm watching 3, 5, 10, 15x. Okay, loads of these would pump during just a 20% drop on Bitcoin dominance. Because we've seen it already this cycle, just drop 10% and us make a ton of money. So that is my stance on Bitcoin dominance. I hope that is valuable to everyone. And if you don't know what Bitcoin dominance is, and I've just ranted for all that time, Bitcoin dominance is essentially the market share that Bitcoin makes up of the entire crypto market. Alex C. Harris, how's it going, guys? When the bull run hits, how do you plan to cash out come this summer? Will you do this to stables, stocks, cash, BTC, or a combo of the above? Keep up the good work and see you in the Discord. Thank you for the kind words, man. I'm glad you're a Discord member. You're a VIP member. Great question. So, what is my not only exit strategy, but what is my post exit strategy? What do I do after I exit? Well, I plan to sit in cash mainly for some period of time because I do expect a massive economic downturn. I do expect a bear market probably in 2026 and a recession in the back end of this year into next year. So I think, you know, I will be in cash to a large degree, but I will also short the market. I will be shorting the market on the way down as well. I'll be shorting cryptocurrencies. I made a lot of money last cycle shorting. I shorted Luna when the whole crash happened, and I shorted FTT, the FTX token, and Bitcoin when the whole FTX situation was unfolding. So I will be shorting, I will be swing trading, and I will have a cash position, and I will probably be topping up on stocks, particularly recession-proof stocks that will provide a hedge from a potential tech bubble pop, right? You want to be in stocks which are resistant to a tapped out consumer. You want to be in stocks that protect you from decreases in consumer sentiment. So luxury stocks probably won't do very well during the next economic downturn. But that's kind of my plan. It's a combination of many things. I also plan to venture into real estate. But I don't want to jump the gun, right? It's always the case. People make a lot of money in crypto and then they just jump the gun and they spend their entire profit in like a week. You know, you make your first $1 million in your life, maybe, and you cash out crypto, and you buy a house worth 500K. You buy stocks 250K, and then the other 250, you buy a nice car, some watches, go on a vacation. Before you know it, you've spent your $1 million profit, right? So patience is key. When you make the profits, don't feel the need to spend, right? That's always the kind of view that most people have. It's the view I have. Whenever I make money, I always think I need to spend it. I need to invest it, right? But patience is key. Sometimes sitting on cash just for 6 to 12 months, yes, you're going to lose some valuation due to inflation, but what is everything else lost in comparison? If the stock market retraces 30 to 50% and crypto retraces 90% and you're sat in cash, you only lost maybe 3% due to inflation, but at least you didn't lose 90% because of crypto or 50% because of stocks. So yeah, I do expect to do some trades in the bear market. The VIP group will be insanely active on my end. I'll be posting short alerts. There'll be certain projects that I'll be looking at short positions. But yeah, it's a combination of all of those things. And thank you for being a Discord member. Great to be, doing crypto with you. Do you think Suey Wales, Kevin O'Leary, and Wayne Kerr will hold during the bear market, as it could be the next Sol, like last bear market? Yeah, what's funny is a lot of these like wealthy investors, they actually do hold long term. They get into a crypto with like a 5 to 10 year hold strategy. I don't do that. Okay, I don't look at getting in a coin to hold for 5 years. I look at getting into a coin to hold cyclically and to sell it when the cycle looks like it's topped out. But a lot of these guys, Kevin O'Leary's and other wealthy investors in crypto, they do look for long-term holds. So to them, they might be convinced that Sui is a crypto they can hold long-term. And that's great for Sui in the long run, but I think coins like Sui, they're gonna dip like 90% in the bear market, just like Solana dipped like 97% or 96%, whatever it was for Solana. I think coins like Sui are gonna dip crazy as well. So I'm not planning on holding anything through the bear market. I'll just buy it in the bear market, right? When it looks like it's bottomed out. Like I believe in myself enough to the point where I can do that game and I can time it pretty well because I did it last cycle. I sold loads of cryptos last cycle when they pumped, and I bought heavily when it all dumped, when it all bottomed out. When does the FOMC meeting start? I think it's 2:30 Eastern time. But we'll be over in the VIP group for a in-depth discussion on that topic. So make sure to be there, guys. Make sure to sign up to the VIP. Get yourselves in there. The Discord's insanely active right now. People constantly sharing charts, sharing altcoins, and there's been quite a few new members join recently. So I'm looking forward to talking to some of the new members over in the voice chat. And obviously all the OGs, all the regular members, obviously looking forward to catching up with them. But we're going to be in that voice chat later today, watching the FOMC live and discussing the effects of it on markets. So make sure to head on over there, get in the VIP by hitting the link in the description. And if you are interested in paying through crypto, drop me an email and we'll sort something out for a crypto payment. But the only options I give for crypto are the longer term options. Okay, I'm not doing monthly crypto payment options. 20 to 30% drop of the Bitcoin dominance is more than enough, taking in consideration that more and more money entering the market. Absolutely. I mean, just think about it, right? We had a 10% drop on Bitcoin dominance back in November. And I don't know about you guys, but in that period, I made 3, 5, 7, 10, 15 X's in that period, right? Across the board, the portfolio went up a lot. Now, that was a 10% drop in Bitcoin dominance. Imagine a 30% drop in Bitcoin dominance. It's going to be glorious for the altcoins. I'm not saying that will even happen. It could be 25%. It could be 20%. We'll have to wait and see. But doesn't even have to drop that much for you to make a lot of money on altcoins. And the funny thing is, you can still be making money on altcoins while Bitcoin dominance is going up. Bitcoin dominance has been going up. Certain altcoins actually outperform Bitcoin. So, for example, this week, Bitcoin dominance has gone up. But if I went into the crypto market, I'm sure there's plenty of coins which outperform Bitcoin in the last week. Just because Bitcoin dominance went up this week doesn't mean every single altcoin performed worse to Bitcoin. There's always going to be some good ones which outperform Bitcoin. For example, Casper has been up 6% this week, Bitcoin up 3%. So Casper has actually outperformed Bitcoin by a factor of 2x in the last week. So this is what people need to understand about Bitcoin dominance. It can be going up, yes. And even while it's going up, you're still outperforming Bitcoin because you're positioned in quality altcoins. And I strongly believe I've got the best altcoins in this list. And I think the 2 VIP gems are going to be 2 of the next ones to move up on the next run. Archie, I'm curious. You made more money shorting the market during the bear market, or you made by holding in the bull run? I made more in the bull run as a whole. But if you're talking about 1-day periods where I've made money, I don't think I've ever made more money in 1 day compared to what I've made by shorting things. Okay. I don't like bragging. But I made in 1 day, just this cycle alone, in 1 day, or like maybe a 30-hour period, 35-hour period, I made like 6 figures almost shorting Trump coin just in a day. So that's not to brag. That's just to point out that you really can make a lot of money shorting if you know what you're doing. And that was maybe not fully 1 day. It was technically 2, right? So like 30 hours, 35 hours, something like that. But The point stands, you can make a lot of money shorting on the way down. Again, if you know what you're doing, if you know how to read a chart, if you're in tune with the macro, if you've got emotional strength and you're not gonna flip out when you're down for a little bit, right? And flip flop in your trade, you can do it. You can make a lot of money doing that. You just gotta, like I said, know what you're doing. How will money flow from BTC ETFs into altcoins, which we're all relying on to pump our bags? I can see how crypto native BTC will rotate into alts, but not ETFs. Isn't there an Ethereum ETF though? They could sell their Bitcoin ETF into an Ethereum ETF. But besides, I mean, ETFs, it's not all of crypto, right? Bitcoin got to $69,000 last cycle without a single ETF. So there's a huge amount of the market share of Bitcoin, which is already not in ETFs. So yeah, maybe some of the Bitcoin ETFs don't move at all into altcoins because a lot of these people holding the Bitcoin ETFs, they're holding them for 5-10 years. But some people will sell their Bitcoin ETFs into an Ethereum ETF. Crypto Goals, how's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. Always great to see you, my friend. I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Think Porsche Chain is legit? I don't follow Porsche Chain, man. Not a big fan. Do you think Bitcoin will come back down in the bear market? Of course. What type of question is that? You know, with all due respect, my friend. Of course, that's the definition of a bear market is Bitcoin will come down. Maybe you don't mean your question like that, but are you asking me if in a bear market Bitcoin would go down? Of course it will go down in its bear market. That's the definition of a bear market, is it means it will go down. Foxy, I don't know, man. Is that on linear? Or am I getting mixed up? Yeah, man, I know so many coins. It's insane. This is just a random coin at 7 million market cap, and I know what it is. It's on linear. The chain is just too niche. I don't think it's going to get too much hype. The chart also doesn't look great, but it's got some decent exchange listings, so I'll give it that credit. It could probably pump at some point. Archie, how much percent of my portfolio should my top holdings, large cap SUI be? It's currently 30%. SUI at 30% is good. I wouldn't go higher than that. I wouldn't go high. This is my general rule, guys. Okay. And whenever I've deviated away from this, I kind of made a mistake. Okay. So this is just my personal recommendation from my anecdotal experience. I wouldn't go over 30% in any single altcoin other than Bitcoin, which isn't an altcoin anyway. I would not go over 30% in any crypto other than Bitcoin. I hope that makes sense to everyone. That's my view. My SUI is around 30% because it's pumped so much. But I initially allocated maybe 10%, but it's pumped a lot. So it's gone up in percentage. But 30% is a okay amount in SUI. I wouldn't go any higher than that, but it's a solid amount. SUI is the best altcoin of this cycle in terms of performance. So it's okay. It's one of the exceptions where you can do that, but I would not go above 30. Did I look into Gun token at all? Yeah, I've looked into it. Honestly, Guns, if this was out last bull run, this would go to like a 20 billion market cap, guys. Like that's what people need to realize. If Guns was out last bull run, you wouldn't be looking at a 35 million market cap coin here. You'd be looking at like a 20 billion. Because Axie Infinity went to 10 billion. And Axie Infinity wasn't even that great. Didn't have a game on the Xbox or PlayStation. This is actually a top tier gaming project, but gaming just lost its edge, man, a long time ago. And I've been a big follower of the gaming space in crypto for a long time, but it lost its edge. I've got about 1% or so of my portfolio in gaming. 1%. I used to have 5%, 7% back in the day. Maybe even 10% last bull run. Sandbox and all those coins. So gaming really lost its edge in crypto, and I can only think that the GTA postponing of the release date is even worse, right? It makes it even worse for gaming. So gaming will have its run, obviously, when Bitcoin dominance drops, because it will at some point. When it drops, gaming will run, just like everything else. Okay, but I'm not seeing any immediate catalysts or any immediate reasons to position myself heavily in gaming right now. But if I was going to position myself in gaming, okay, which I have about 1%, don't get me wrong, Guns would be one of the considerations. It's not one I hold, but it would be a consideration. So it's a solid crypto. The game is good, but gaming is out of favor, exactly. And that's the thing. I always say it. I feel like I'm just in these live streams repeating slogans and phrases. But once you lose your momentum in crypto, it's gone. It's very hard to get it back. I say this all the time in live streams, but once you lose that momentum, whether it's a sector, whether it's a specific coin, whatever it is, once you lose that momentum, once you lose that edge, it's really difficult to regain it. And that's the problem that gaming has had for years now in crypto. But the fundamentals still stand. There's still a good amount of fundamentals for gaming and reasons as to why you should be bullish on it. It makes sense when you think about it. Now, I'm not too bullish on play to earn, but just the idea of like in-game assets, NFTs, a marketplace, a token, a native token. It does seem like we're going into a world where everything becomes tokenized, and anything that has like mindshare it's going to be tokenized. There's going to be a token for a game, a token for a brand, a token for a meme. That's kind of how things are going. So I think it can do well, but I'm just not heavily positioned in gaming right now. I'm really positioned in layer ones, L1s. But yeah, I do have Beam for gaming. That is one I hold. Is Sui too late to buy now or wait? Thanks. I mean, the best time to buy Sui was when I was buying it at 70 cents, right? 76 cents. But still not a bad time to buy it now. It's like that saying, the best time to buy Sui was when I was buying it. The second best time is to buy it now. It's like the tree, plant a tree saying. The best time to plant a tree. Yeah, I think Sui is a decent buy on this dip. Again, if you're looking for a 3 to 7x. If you're not looking for a 3 to 7x and you're looking for more than that, then Sui might not be for you. But if you're happy with your portfolio doing a 3 to 7x, Sui is a great altcoin. It's the best one out there for that. But if you're not looking for that and you're looking for more like a 10x potential, then I'd be looking more at the other altcoins I've listed. But a lot of people in crypto, they take a 3 to 7x right now. They'd shake hands on it. And if that's the case, Sui on this dip is looking quite attractive as a buy. Come down to the 382. Not a bad buy on Sui. Not a bad buy. When this thing takes off, it's going to shoot straight to $7.50 in my opinion. Like straight away, like really fast. And that's just the beginning. I think it's going to go a lot higher. But we'll have to wait and see for that. That'll happen when BTC dominance drops. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching the live stream. I said it would be a quick one. I do have some things I need to do. But as always, I appreciate you all joining the stream. Make sure to smash the likes if you got any bit of value, enjoyment, entertainment, whatever from the stream. And make sure to be there later for the VIP group call. Sometimes these group calls, they can last hours. They can last 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. And we discuss everything crypto related. Everything. We discuss the macro, the economic environment. We discuss the best altcoins to buy now, portfolio strategy, portfolio management, exit strategy, buy strategy, everything. And this particular call today, we're going to be streaming the FOMC meeting. So when that happens, we'll be watching it live and we'll be discussing everything that Jerome Powell says after the meeting. And it could last a few hours. So I really look forward to that and talking to you guys in the voice chats. You know, that's what makes this group amazing. A lot of other groups, it's just a dictatorship. There's one guy, he doesn't join the voice chats. He doesn't listen to members. But in this one, I'm in here a lot. I'm helping the members out. And we're going on voice chat. So if you like the sound of that and you want to see the 2 VIP gems, okay, the 2 recent buy alerts, you'll unlock both of those if you sign up. This mid-cap one I dropped, I have good, strong conviction in that. I think it'll do really well. 7 to 15x potential on that one. And then the micro-cap one, the tiny one, I think that one could potentially do a 7 to 50x. So both different risk levels, obviously allocate sensibly. But those are the 2 new buy alerts which you unlock when you join the group. You get my real-time buy alerts. You get weekly VIP update videos. You get my full portfolio. Man, it really is the place to be. Full comprehensive crypto group like you've never seen before. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next live stream or video. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. And make sure to be very careful, especially if you're trading, because there could be some volatility today around the FOMC meeting. Thank you, guys. Goodbye.